Today we're going to be talking about working with numbers. Working with numbers can be confusing sometimes, and we have some questions here I'd like to discuss with you. Why can numbers be confusing sometimes, do you think? When do we have to use numbers? Is reading numbers the correct way important or not? Do all English speakers write and read numbers the same way? What do you think? Numbers can be confusing sometimes, especially when people read them different ways. Also, when we don't know how to read these numbers, that can be confusing. We'd have to read the numbers if we purchase a train ticket, if we purchase an airplane ticket, when we buy something, when we're trying to say numbers in different currencies, when we read dates, when we read the time, uh, we'd have to use numbers. When you give your credit card information, you have to read the numbers. Is reading numbers the correct way important? Yes, because if you give somebody the wrong number of something, of a price of a car, for example, that might be very confusing. So it's very important to read numbers correctly. Do all speakers read numbers the same way? We'll find out today in our video. Let's look at all of these first, and I want you to look at it and tell me what you see in this picture. That's correct. We see different pictures for different terms in math. So for example, this is a formula, AB squared equals AC squared plus BC squared. Here we have the fraction. The number on the top is called the denominator. The one at the bottom is called the denominator, and the fraction bar. And here it shows you we have 5 bars, and we're saying where the ones that are highlighted are the 3. So this is 3 out of 5. Okay. So the way that we say this fraction is 3/5. Here we have a half, a quarter, or 1/4, or 1/4, 3/4 or 3/4, a third or 1/3, 2/3, 1/5 or a fifth, 3/5, 1/8, 5/8, 1.5, 5 3/4. Also, sometimes we see one big number and one small number on top. The bigger number is called the base, and the one on top is called the exponent, and the whole number is called the power. Here we have some signs like plus, minus, times, or multiplied by, divided, equals, greater than, not bigger than, greater than, less than, 3 cubed, 5 squared, 10 to the power of 2 to the power of 10, or 2 to the 10th power, and the square root of 9. We'll talk about all of these in details, but first I want you to look here and tell me, what do you see? We see a point, and we see numbers on the right, numbers on the left. So on the left, this is the main number. We start with the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and they all end with just S. On the right, they all end with THS. So tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Okay. So for example, we see here 1 point something, 10 point something, 100 point something, 1,000 point something, 10,000 point something, 100,000 point something. And here we see 0 point tenth, 0 point hundredth, 0 point thousandths, 0 point 10,000ths. So this is the fractional part, the whole number part. Let's see some examples. Before we look at the examples, let's learn about the pronunciation of some example, the TH sound. The TH sound can be pronounced in two ways, th or the. But now we're going to be looking at the th sound. So this is th versus se. This is se. This is th. And here, so for example, let's look at the th sound. Th sound is like thin or path. The tongue needs to be between your teeth. While this sound, the tongue is behind the teeth. So we say sin, pass. And this sound here, we combine the two sounds together. So tenths, months, hundredths. We can watch this video together also to learn more. If you look up the internet, how to pronounce the THs. So I encourage you to look up YouTube and watch this video and practice saying the th sound, the se sound, and finally the th, two sounds together. And here in the book, it explains to you how to say certain symbols, math symbols like equals, 5 plus 2 equals 7%, 5%. And here we can read it in two ways. Usually we can say 0.5, or you can say 5 tenths. 5 tenths. For example, remember here we talked about this. You see, tenth, 5 tenths. So whatever the number that you see, you say if it's tenth, if it's hundredths, if it's a thousandths. Okay. So here, 5 tenths. Or we have another example, 6 tenths, or 0.6. Americans usually say 0.6, which is very easy. Here we can say 0.05. So sometimes we say the 0 as O, or we could read it in a different way. We can say 5 hundredths. Another example would be 6 hundredths, or we can say 0.06 or 0.06. Here, 0.005 or 0.005 or 5 thousandths. And here we have another example, 6 thousandths. Here we have 10 squared. And we have another example, 5 squared plus 3. 10 cubed, 5 cubed plus 4. Here we have 10 to the 4th power. Here we have 10 to the 5th power, 10 to the 6th power, 10 to the 7th power. Th sound, remember the th sound, 4th. Okay, 5.2 times 10 to the 4th power. Here we have 5.3 times 10 to the 6th power. Here we have some numbers. We have 32%, 10 meters times 3 meters, or 10 meters by 3 meters, or 10 meters multiplied by 3 meters. Here we have 8.3, 1 2/3, 3/4, 3 squared, 3 cubed, 2 to the 4th to the power of 4, or 2 to the 4th power. 1975, we'll talk in details how to say the dates. 2001, or we can say 2001. Both are correct. Again, 2001 or 2001. Here we have 263 minus 3,847. Here, if you look at the number, we say 263 or 263 You see this hyphen, you have to put a hyphen between these words because it's one word. It's not three words, so it's one word. Okay, it's one word. Same when you say 75, it's one word, it's not two. So be careful when you're writing that you make sure you put the hyphen because it's one number, it's not two numbers. And then we have the 26 Celsius or 26 degrees. We have 1,325,476, and we don't say and. And we have 21st, 92nd, 53rd, 67th, and we talk about this in details. So here we have 292,354,632. We're not supposed to say and, so we'll say it again. 292,354,632 without saying and. Here we have more numbers, 28%, 10 meters times 12 meters, 10.3, 1 2/3, 4/5, 4 squared, 7 cubed, 8 to the power of 4, 32 degrees Celsius, 1,623,457. And here are more symbols. We have the plus, minus, plus or minus, multiplied by or times, over or divided by, divided, equals, approximately or similar, equivalent to or identical, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal, not greater than, not less than, much greater than, not equivalent to, not identical to, not similar to. And here we have squared, cubed, to the fourth or to the power 4, to the n, to the nth, to the power n, root, square root, cube root, fourth root, factorial, percent, infinity. Infinity is probably the last number. Okay, here I want you to read these. I'm going to give you some time. Pause the video and try to read them. Okay, after you pause the video, let's check your answers. That's correct. X plus 1, x minus 1, x plus or minus 1, xy, or x times y, or x multiplied by y, x minus y, x plus y, x over y, or x divided by y. Here, x divided by y. X equals 5, or x is equal to 5. X is approximately equal to y. X is equivalent to y, or x is identical with y. X is not equal to y. X is greater than y, x is less than y, x is greater than or equal to y. X is less than or equal to y. Okay, here's another one. I want you to read this one. Pause the video and try to read it. Okay, now check your answers. That's correct. X squared, x cubed, x to the fourth, or x to the power 4, or x to the fourth power. X to the n, x to the nth, x to the power n. X to the minus n, x to the power of minus n. Root x, square root x. There's supposed to be an x here, but x is a number that we don't know. So you can put x or you can remove it. The square root of x, the cube root of x, the fourth root of x, the nth root of x, x plus all squared, x plus y all squared, x plus y all squared, x over y all squared, or x divided by y all squared, n factorial or factorial n, x percent, and infinity. Here we have the cardinal number and ordinal number. So here, this is easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Make sure you read them correctly. make sure your the sounds are very clear. For example, the two, it's t, not de. The th, it's th, not se. The fe and the v, we say 5. So the v has a vibration. 5 and 7, 8, 9, 10, and again it's te, not de. 11 v, 12 v, 13 th sound, 14, and so on. And here we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Make sure you practice the th sound. Okay, and then we have 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and so on. 31st, 32nd, 41st, 42nd, 43rd, and it goes on. Here we have more examples. And here we have large numbers like 1 million or 10 to the sixth power, 1,000,001, 2 million, 1 billion, or 10 to the 9th power, or to the power 9. And then we have 1 trillion, or 10 to the 12th power. Fractions, we have a half, 3 halves, 1/3, 1/4, 1/4, 1/5, 3/8. Decimals, as we said before, we can read them in 2 different ways, but here the easiest way is 1.125, 125. So again, 1.125 or 1.125. How do we read these numbers? What is this number? This number is a 1. 1, because when you put a point, these are zeros, so it's 1. This one is 1,000, and that's when it gets confusing. But do all countries read this the same? No. Let's find out. But first, let's look at this. So this is 7,000.6, and this is also 7,000.6, but Europe puts a point instead of a comma. Okay, here, using commas, usually the way it goes is like this. You just put a comma, not a point. So this is 1,234, 23,566, 1,234,967, 8,000, 8,000.01, and here we have 8,000.01234566. This is usually the way it is. You put a comma to every 1,000, you put a comma. But some people do it a different way. Like we said before, United Kingdom, United States, and China, they do it this way. 4,567.1. They could also be, in Europe, they put a point instead of a comma. Okay, so it would be 4,567, 0.1, but instead they do it the other way. It's kind of confusing, but it's good to know the difference. But the most common form is this one. Okay. All right, here, saying the time and the date. Saying the time is very easy. In American English, you just say the first part and then the second part. So this would be 2:30, 5:20, 11:13, 10 o'clock, 17:05. In British English, the way they say it is 2:30, which might be confusing, but the easiest way is just to say the first number and the second number. Same thing with the date. If you want to say the date, you just say the first 2 numbers and the second 2 numbers. So 1984, 2020, 2021, 2023, and so on. Also, in American English, we start by the month and then the day. So for example, we say here, for example, we say March 7th, So if you read this, it's going to be March 7th, 2017. While in British English, they start with the day, like many other countries. All countries start with the day and then the month. The 7th of March. Okay, so this might be confusing, so pay attention to that. Americans always start with the month and then the day, while all the other countries start with the day and then the month. Now, I have an exercise for you. I'm gonna say some numbers and I want you to write them down. So get your pencil. Okay, first number is 1.5. 1.5. Second number, 1,500. Third number, 1 plus 22 equals 23. 1 plus 22 equals 23. Next, 25 over 5 equals 5. Or 25 divided by 5 equals 5. Next, 0.2 or 2/10. Next, 5 thousandths. 5 thousandths. Next, 1 million. Next, 1,657,400 Tugrik. Again, 1,657,400 Tugrik. You can pause the video to write down the numbers if it's too fast. Next, 2 squared. Next, 8 to the 10th power. Next, 7 cubed. Next, 5 times 5 equals 25. Next, 12:30 p.m. Next, 1979. Next, 2011. Next, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Pause the video, listen again if you missed any of the numbers. And now it's time to check your answers. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time.